This is exactly how I came into a B2B lead generation agency and scaled their team from 30K a month to 100K a month in 60 days. Now, the first thing that I do when I come into an offer is always have a look at what are they currently charging and what is the current offer that they're getting out there. Now, for this specific business, they were charging around 1.5K a month, and their offer was good, but it wasn't stellar. So what I did was I increased the value of the service and I increased the price then from 1.5K a month to 2.5K a month, or 6.5K PIF. The second step then was to increase the cash collection percentage, which means the total portion of revenue that's actually been collected within a certain period. Now, this company was taking on way too many people on monthlies and not on paying fulls, which resulted in them having a really low cash collection percentage of around 30%. So I introduced a PIF incentive, which ensured we got way more PIFs than monthly installments, and this brought that cash collection percentage from 30% to 70%. Next then is show rate, which is out of 10 calls that get booked on the calendar, how many of those 10 actually show up to the live call. Now, this company beforehand didn't even know their show rate, and the only pre-call they had set up was just Calendly automations. So a couple of things I implemented here was a maximum of a 4-day booking window on Calendly. I made sure that the SDRs were always confirming the day before or the day of, depending on when they were booked in. And then finally, not just pre-call automations going out on Calendly, but also on the CRM close, which can be automated by using H2P. Now, something that I see that a lot of sales teams don't do is they don't track their rebooking rate, which is out of all the no-shows, how many of them get re-engaged and rebooked onto the calendar. So what I did when I came in was I made sure, first of all, this was tracked, and we had a system in place where if somebody was to no-show, there was a system for the SDRs to go back into the CRM and re-engage them and rebook them on the calendar. And we got this number to 70%. The next step then was to ensure that of all of the calls that did get booked on the calendar, all of them were qualified. Now, before I came in, anybody was let on the calendar and there was absolutely no process for qualification. So what I set up was a system where there was barely any direct bookings on the calendar. Anybody who was on the calendar, they had to be booked through an SDR. Then the SDRs had a very clear process qualifying these leads to find out how many team members did the business have, what revenue was the company doing, and were they an actual fit for our specific service, which then resulted in 90% of the calls on the calendar actually being always qualified. Step 5 then was creating a proven closing script. Now, what was funny about this company is they had a really good case study in their specific industry, and they weren't even speaking about it on call. So I created a full closing script, which went from everything in regards to frame, discovery, going over that case study, pitching, dropping that price, and objection handling. Then data. This is incredibly important and you can't get this wrong. And for this specific business, they weren't tracking anything, which means you can't make data-driven decisions and you can't identify bottlenecks accordingly. So I made sure we were tracking everything here, from show rate, close rate, cash per call, cash collection percentage, and our offer percentage. Now, the SDR department. This business had a massive issue with recruiting and hiring trained reps. So I came in and built a team of trained SDRs, make sure that they weren't using spreadsheets to call off, they were actually using a power dialer to ensure they were using their time wisely, and we had a massive focus on lead quality. Step 8 then was the follow-up system post-call. Now this company had nothing set up in regards to what were they sending after a sales call to ensure they kept prospects and deals engaged always. So I created a personalized post-call recap email and got the founder to create around 3 to 4 2 to 3 minute case study videos going over different companies that were very similar to our specific niche. Then step 9, tech stack. Very important to have the right tech stack to ensure that your team is always being as efficient as possible with their time. Some of the tools that we used were PandaDoc for contracts, Close as our CRM, Fathom for call recordings, and then Slack for team communication. Now, sales handoff to fulfillment is extremely important, and it is your sales department's responsibility to ensure that that is as smooth as possible. So I ensured that all clients were onboarded within 48 hours. They'd filled out the onboarding form, the sales team knew about that, and I hosted weekly syncs for the sales and operations team to be completely aligned on a daily and weekly basis. Then step 11 was making sure that all the sales reps' commission structure was completely set up in the right way. Now, before I came in, the business owner was a bit confused in regards to should they pay the setters a base, should they pay them X percentage, should they pay them Y percentage, and I made it clear that we should pay the setters 5%, the closers 10%, and have performance bonuses in place to ensure that the team were incentivized to hit their goals. Also, we didn't do any base salary, which meant that this was an extremely high margin model. Now, last but not least is a big team goal. Everybody knew that our goal was to hit our first 6-figure month within 2 months. That was the goal, and everybody was aligned on making that happen. We spoke about it daily. We spoke about it on our team calls. It was everything. We idolized this. We visualized it. It was a big, massive goal, and everybody was getting a big, massive bonus if we were to hit this. Now, all this said, all of these points are just as important as the other. One metric is off, it completely destroys all the other metrics. For example, if your show rate is off, it ruins everything. If your close rate is off, it kills your team. All of these things are just as important as each other. And so if you want a free 30-minute auto call of your current sales team, you'll see my link in the Instagram bio. Send me a DM, say audit on Instagram, and we'll have a call.